Okay, we're back. So I prayed and I talked about my week. So I guess I'll recap on my day because I'm not recapping on the prayer chat. The way that I can barely... I prayed. Nonetheless, the Lord heard me, and that is who needs to hear my prayers. Okay, do I pray for y'all? Absolutely not. I pray for the Lord. Clark it. Anyways, hope you guys can hear me now. But anyways, I went to work today. I got Chick-fil-A. I got a Chick-fil-A salad. And then when I went to work, there was this kid who was mad over a Skittle. Mind you, this is not my age group today. Tomorrow, it probably will be my age group. But today, I was not with this group, thankfully, because the Lord knew what I could handle today. And I could not handle this today. Because if I did, promise I would have quit. And I'm already struggling financially. So quitting is just not in the books for me. It's not in the cards. But, you know, he had a little bit of a temper tantrum, okay? He destroyed the cafeteria. He was mad and was throwing boxes at teachers' heads, basically, over a Skittle. All this over a Skittle. And parents, let me tell y'all something. If you have a child who is in a special needs category and you enable them, you are making everybody else's job who takes care of your child harder, because you give them what they want instead of simply disciplining them and allowing them to know that this behavior is not okay. Whether they are autistic, ADHD, whether you have a special needs problem or not, stop enabling these children, please. It is not fair to everybody else who has to handle these kids. It's never been fair, and it's definitely not fair now. So, please, to the prettiest of pleases, stop enabling your children, discipline them. It's a little hard, just a little. It's not that hard. If y'all need a book, my dad's writing a bunch, so he was a very good discipliner. I will say, I did not like the discipline, but look at me now. I'm thriving, and I'm not on the street dead. So, thanks, Dad. Anyways, that was my day. My week has been kind of hectic. I've been giving myself so much stress. So, I'm breaking out on my forehead from stress. And I'm just going through a lot, like, health-wise. I'm giving myself a lot of health issues from stress. So, I need to take a fat step back from life really quick. And just reflect and calm down. And just give myself some grace. I just need to give myself grace. I need to give myself a moment of peace. What do I really want to do? Shove my face in a pillow and scream. But while I do that now, I'm going to give myself grace and peace. On to our topic with my handy dandy iPad. So, I was kind of struggling to figure out what I wanted to talk about today, because I was just like, there's a lot of things I could talk about, but none of them are really just like pushing me like to talk, and none of them are really relatable. But then I was sitting in the car on the way here, and I was like, hey, I can talk about how it is difficult to be a young Christian, because I feel like it's difficult for a lot of people, specifically, like, I don't want to say it's difficult for the Christians who grew up in church. No, let me not say. It's difficult for everybody. It's difficult to be a young Christian, period, point blank. Okay? It's very difficult, and it's especially difficult when you see a lot of things, especially straight out of high school, and you see, like, things that you could be enjoying, things you could be doing, things you could be involved in, and you can't do those things because of the quote-unquote the FOMO. That's just not you. That's not your body. That's not your personality. So that's just one. If that's already not you, it is going to be difficult to make that you. It's going to be difficult to get into that idea. It's going to be difficult to get into that situation and area of your life where you want to go out and you want to be like everybody else. But that is why the Bible also tells us to be set apart from the world. The Bible in Romans 12 verse 1 or 2, and that's off my head. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's Romans 12 verse 1 or 2. And it also says so in Colossians 3 verse 5. Yes. Or 3 through 5. Yeah. But But nonetheless, it's in the Bible. It is in the Bible to be set apart from the world. And that is just something that is very difficult to It is very difficult to do when you want to be like when that's just something that you want for whatever reason. For whatever reason, you see people going out to parties, you see people having fun, you see people doing things that are just like, oh my gosh, this looks really fun. But honestly, once you actually start doing it, it's not that fun. Because getting drunk repeatedly is just not that fun. Waking up to where you don't remember things is just not that fun anymore. It gets to a point of where it's just like, okay, this is cool or whatever, but it's not that fun. And the more you start to sit and open your eyes, the more you start to sit and your heart starts to open to the Lord, the easier it is for you to just realize, like, okay, like, yeah, that's not my cup of tea. But I can tell you for sure, I just look at things like that and I just know that's not my cup of tea. And I tried telling my therapist that, and she was just like, why, you don't have to go out and drink, you don't have to go out and do whatever. I was just like, no, that's just not my cup of tea. Because why do I have to go out and party to have fun? Why do I have to go out and party to make friends? Why is that what is going to help me gain a friend? And it's not even going to be a friend I want. Because most of the time, those people who go to parties and stuff, those are people who are just not devoted to their spiritual life. And no, I'm not passing on judgment, because honestly, if you're not devoted to your spiritual life and you're going to parties, or if you're not spiritual at all, then that is your own personal business. But baby, that's not me. Baby, I am devoted. Baby, I try my hardest to be devoted. I try to do what I can do, and I try to put my best foot forward instead of being someone who is struggling with all these mental health problems for the simple fact that I want to be like the world. We have a comment, so we will read the comment. Chat, this is so hard to do. Put it on the board. Ugh. Comment was fixed, so never mind. So, but hold on, where I lost my train of thought. No, I didn't. Give me a second. Oh yeah. So you just have to be very prepared, both mentally. It's like in every type of way, you have to be prepared to be a young Christian who wants to do everything else that the world is doing, but you know in your heart that that's just not right. And yes, it looks fun, but once you start doing it, I promise you it's not that fun. Have I ever done it? No, but I have seen and heard from other people. I live vicariously through my friends who say that they're doing it. And for a good some of them, they're just like, it's not what it is made out to be. Like, it's fun for a while, and then it's just not fun. I'm just like, okay, well, that's you. And I honestly just feel like after a while, I'll get bored of the same thing. Because like I said last week, I get bored with repetitive things. I get bored when I am talking about the same thing for a while. I get bored when I'm doing the same thing for a while. The only thing that doesn't bore me is both Bible study, Sunday service, Bible study, and Thursdays. And those are the most repetitive things in my life. Like, those are the 3 solid things, and work. Those are the 4 solid things that are just repetitive. But every day I go into work, there's something different happening. I come to Bible study, we're talking about something different. I go to Thursday prayer, there's a different leader, there's a different atmosphere. The tone is set differently. I go to Sunday school, I teach Sunday school, but I come here on a Sunday morning, and everything about this Sunday service is different. Different leader, different pastor, different atmosphere. And that nothing about that is repetitive. Now, when I go to a party, we're all drinking, you're all fighting, screaming, shouting, twerking, dancing, doing whatever you're doing. You're just doing the same things, and that's just boring. And I just it's okay to be upset that you're missing out. It is okay to miss out. It is okay to feel sad because you're missing out, because at the end of the day, you are still young. At the end of the day, you weren't ready to say goodbye to a life, goodbye to a part of your life that you just weren't prepared to let go of. And I'm pretty sure I said something like that last week, but I really don't remember what I said last week. Again, I talk and I just don't remember what I said. The moment it leaves my mouth, it leaves my head. I'm just done with it. But it is okay. It is okay to miss out on things. It is also okay to not be someone who is faithfully devoted to like their online life, like their online Christian life. Like that's something that they just care about showing people, like, oh, I'm so in tune with my word, I'm so in tune with my Bible, I'm so in tune with this, that, and the third, that you're really not in tune with any of that at all. You just open your Bible, you sit in front of it, and you post your scripture. And that's, if you do that, then that's fine. That's just what you are doing. But are you doing that for the people that follow you, or are you doing that for the Lord? Are you performing your faith, or are you truly devoted and defining your faith? Is your faith something that you truly care about? Because me personally, when I read my Bible, I don't need to tell everybody I read my Bible. I don't need everybody to know that I read my Bible. I don't need everybody to know what I read. Like, I've been in the book of Matthew, and there's a lot of things I have yet to finish the book of Matthew, and I started it a few weeks ago. Why have I not been I haven't been in my Bible for a really long time. I'm in my Bible when I come to church, and that's it. And that is my own business. That is my own problem. I don't need to go online and take a picture of my Bible and a coffee, because at some point in time, when you're constantly doing that, you're just performing what you're doing. You're showing the world that you are a believer, and you're showing them instead of fully like you can do other things and just do that, because at some point in time it's just looking fake. It's just looking like you're doing it, and you're doing that. So imagine you're doing that and someone knows you personally, and they're just like, wow, you're doing all this, but last night you were at doing something crazy. Which is why it's very much just like, that's a part of being Christian young, and that's just a very difficult thing when you are being a young Christian, but you're being lukewarm. Like, you're doing things that you shouldn't be doing. You're doing things that the Lord calls you not to do, and then the next day you're with your arms raised up in church. Because a lot of times, no, there was a TikTok maybe 2024. There was this lady, and she got dressed to go to church, but she had her club clothes underneath. And at that point in time, girl, just go to the club, because what are you going to church for? You're at church at 13, you're at a club. You're doing whatever you're doing in a club. And it's just like, but why? But why even go to church if at the end of the day you're going to go be with the world? Because you were with God for a few minutes, and then now you're with the world again. Which is just, it's very much important that we set ourselves apart. It's something that is difficult to do, especially as a young Christian, because I promise y'all, I don't want to, when I think about it, I just get more upset, because there are just so many things I could be doing, and I'm here, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this, and then everybody's looking at me like, oh, we're so proud of you. I'm just like, but if you saw what you saw, if you saw myself in the dark versus what you see in the light, which are two different things. It's very important to remember that. You could see the fun part of being young. You could see that, but you also have to remember there are difficulties to being young too. And a lot of Christians are dealing with a lot of young Christians are dealing with their hardships, and they're dealing with them out loud. They're dealing with them with God. But most of them, they deal with them in private, because they're ashamed and embarrassed. And it's nothing to be ashamed or embarrassed about. Because I promise you that sexual sin, everybody's going through it. Because I'm telling you right now, there are a lot of people who are quote unquote saving themselves for marriage. A lot of people who are doing that, and there's just people who are just like, I can't do it. I want to do it. Everybody else is doing it. It's fun. It looks fun. Not looks fun. It's not like, there's just a lot of input that is being put into their heads. But but a lot of times people don't realize that there's a reason why the Lord says don't do it. The reason why the Lord says don't do it is because the moment you do it, now you're tied to that person. And I was thinking about this the other day. The Lord tells us not to have sex with people you're not going to get married to, right? He tells you not to do that, because once you do that, now you're tied to that person, right? And you're just bringing all those ties to your marriage, right? Once you get married. Because once you get married, you're one flesh. I feel like I can't say sex. When you do the do, you are tied to that person. You are one flesh with that person, not through marriage, but you are one flesh with that person through the intercourse, through the performance you performed. That's what we're gonna say. And that is why that's something that a lot of people just forget, and they're just like, no, I just did it. It was just I just had to be done. And I just look at a lot of people sometimes, and I just watch them. I watch them go through like this terrible fall, because once it happens, it's either you're constantly wanting it, then you're fighting spiritual warfare, then you're having a bunch of issues, then you're just like, you're going through a lot. You're going through a lot of emotions because you were being young and you didn't think about the consequences that were going to come with what was happening. And it's okay, because it happens. That's life. Another thing with being a young Christian, for me personally, this one is really personal, but I have just officially just separated myself from people who are just dragging me down. Because the moment I see you becoming something that I feel like can influence me the wrong way, because sometimes I will say there are difficulties that I go through and I have been through. If someone is doing something that can tempt me, there you go, that's the word I was looking for. If someone is doing something that I can easily fall into temptation around me and I can easily be tempted, I have to flee. And I have to flee that friendship and relationship with you. And I don't want to feel judgmental doing that. I don't want to make you feel judged by doing that. But all I can tell you is that that's just not going to be me. I'm not going to be someone who's going to hell. Let me tell y'all something. I was saying this the other day. I'm not going to hell for something that is unserious. I'm not going to hell for something that is not worth going to hell over. Which it took me a while to think what is worth going to hell over. Not much. There's not much that's worth going to hell over. And I can promise you, friendships are not one of them. I'm not going to hell for somebody who wants to live their life a different way than mine. Your lifestyle is your lifestyle. My lifestyle is my lifestyle. But I also have to realize that at some point in time, this friendship is going to end, especially if you are easily influencing me. If I'm easily influenced and that's my weakness, and you're doing something that can affect me in a negative way, I'm going to have to remove myself for the simple fact that I know that I am not strong enough to resist whatever you're doing, no matter what it is. It could be parties, it could be drugs, it could be boys, it could be anything. I'm just going to separate myself from you because I am easily influenced. And that is something that I have to pray about, because I can resist temptation against certain things, but there are certain things that I can't. And I can't think of an example. But I can resist until there are just certain things that are just like, this is something that is very, like secular music. There we go. Secular music for me, that is one of my biggest weaknesses. I can hear one secular song, and for an entire week, only secular music is playing around me. And I hate that, because the moment I listen to it, I can't even say a week, for like a few days, like maybe like 2 or 3 days, I'm listening to secular music, and then I just get in the car one day, and I'm just like, I really don't like this, because it's just a negative energy that is flowing into my system. I don't like how I feel when I listen to secular music. And I never like it, because I've never liked it. But then again, when I do listen to secular music, a few weeks ago I talked about my sin, my maladaptive daydreaming sin. If I listen to secular music, then it leads into that, then it leads into loneliness, and then it leads into idolatry, and it just leads into a bunch of sins. I'm just like, I can't do this. I can't keep doing this. So I make it a very strong goal to resist secular music, to find the best thing, not close to it, but the best thing to a song I like, if that makes sense. Oh my gosh, my jaw hurts. Did I tell you guys I have a toothache? No, I didn't. That's a part of my day. I have a terrible toothache. I woke up with it, and it just keeps getting stronger. But yeah, so I think a lot of people, with that being said, I think a lot of people just think, oh, I'm young, I have time. No, you don't. Because I promise you, if we look around the world right now, it is in complete shambles. and that is biblical. The world is not. No, that is biblical. What is happening in the world right now is biblical. If you read Matthew 24, I believe, yeah. If you read Matthew 24, biblical prophecies. Or prophecies, is that what it is? I think it is, because Jesus said it, so I'm going to say it's prophecies. But it's all biblical. So, no, don't sit around and say, oh, I have time to do this, I have time to do this, I have time to do that. No, you don't. You have time to build on your relationship with Jesus. That's what you should be doing. That is what I should be doing. That is what we all should, who really care about our relationship with Jesus. Because honestly, I have to keep telling myself, my ultimate goal, I don't have to keep telling myself, I had to tell myself this for years though. My ultimate goal is not to get into heaven. My ultimate goal is to build my relationship with Jesus and God. Because at the end of the day, that is the only relationship that matters to me. That is something else I had to tell myself. The more friends I lose, whatever. At least I have Jesus and God. At least I have the two people who truly care about me and will never abandon me. Even when I abandon them, they will never abandon me. Because what Jesus, what did I say in the song say? Left the 99 to find me. Is that the song? I think that's the song. That song, and then that is also in the Bible. It's also in the Bible. It's a parable that Jesus said. Jesus told that parable. I think Jesus told that parable. The emphasis on the words I'm saying is think. Do not listen to me. Read your Bibles, people. But I believe that Jesus told that parable of he'll leave the 99 to find you, or that's basically what the story was about. Yeah. So at the end of the day, that is the only relationship to me that matters. Yes, I care about the people that I have around me, the relationships that I have surrounding me. But if push comes to shove and I need to snip you out my life, snip. And that's just what it's going to have to be. Because I'm not going to keep holding on to something that is not helping me. I'm not going to keep holding on to something that is dragging me down. I'm not going to keep holding on to something that is just bad for my spirit. If you're giving me negative energy and my spirit is negatively impacted, why am I holding on to this? What is so satisfying, I want to say, about this? What is so quote unquote good about this? Nothing. There's nothing good that is good. Last maybe a few good outings, but if you're someone who is constantly negative, and this was me a few years ago, chat, so let me shut my mouth on that one. But the excuse that, oh, I'm young, is just something that you can't keep saying. Like, oh, I'm young, I want to live my life. Oh, I'm young, I want to do this for God. Oh, I'm young, this, that, and the third. It's just like, okay, oh, you're young. Now, when you end up in a predicament where you're in hell, which is strong to say, you're going to be thinking, like, I should have, young or not, there's this thing that I should have been doing. And a lot of times it's just like, you just have to take a step back. You have to realize a lot of people in the Bible were young and they were worshiping God. They were serving the Lord. And you could think, oh, they didn't have all the same struggles as we have. No, but they probably had it worse. Because honestly, I believe that those times were worse. Because, first of all, why would the things in the Bible, why would everything that is written in the Bible just be written without there already being an issue of that? Idolatry was already an issue. Hence why one of the 10 commandments is you shall have no other God. Because that was an issue. So if there are issues that are already in the Bible, then that is why they are in the Bible. Because people were dealing with the same issues that you're dealing with. And you may think, oh, I'm young, I could do this, I could do that, I could do this. Oh, you're young, but that doesn't mean that you can't live your life for God. That's just not an excuse, because it doesn't make sense to just say, oh, I'm young, I can't worship the Lord. Oh, I'm young, I can't do this for God. Oh, I'm young, this is this and the third. No. Oh, you're young. Honestly, when is the best time to train a puppy? When they're young. Because if you try to train, can you speak, Samia? If you try to train a 5-year-old puppy, the most that 5-year-old puppy is going to take from whatever you're training is very little information. It is easier to train a puppy. Did I say a 5-year-old puppy? A 5-year-old dog. It's easier to train a puppy because a puppy does not know much. A puppy can learn as they grow. They don't have that stubbornness. They don't have a stubbornness that older dogs get. Because the older dogs get, the more that there's just habits that have never been broken. For example, my dog, he eats socks. That is me and my sister's fault. We would leave our socks on the floor, and then for a while we would chase him around the house, and then by months 2, he won't swallow the swallowed sock. It's gonna come out until one day in October 2025, he swallowed a fuzzy sock and it didn't come out. He almost died, and then we had to. Anyways, you know what? Here's a good Bible character for a one young. Are y'all ready for this one? Because y'all are gonna get clocked. Mary, mother of Yeshua. How old was Mary? Because I can tell you this much: she was not 20. She was not. How old was Esther? Because she wasn't 20. Every woman in the Bible had an age range of when they were dating somebody or marrying somebody. Typically, their age range was 13 to 15, and that was the age range. 12 to young. Okay, so let's say I'm gonna say 11 to 15. That feels broad enough for me. 11 to 15-year-old. So mother of Jesus pushing out a baby at 11 to 15, like that's the age range. Carrying the Savior, devoting her life to God. Because if we go to Matthew 2, excuse me. Remind me later. What in the world? If we go to Matthew 2, I believe. If you guys have your Bibles, you should go to Matthew 2, because I'm going to take a second. Matthew 2. I skipped Matthew 2. Is it Matthew 2 or 1? Matthew 1. What in the world? Guys, am I crazy? Okay, I'm gonna find it, but give me a second. But nonetheless, if we go to Luke 1, there we go. Why did any of you guys help me? You're just watching me struggle. Anyways, Luke 1:28. The angel went to her and said, "Greetings, you are highly favored. The Lord is with you." Okay, now, first of all, why would the Lord pick somebody who is? Why would the Lord pick her? Like, that's something that constantly enters my mind. Like, why would the Lord pick her? Like, Mary, what was so special about Mary? The angel said, "You are highly favored." So she obviously, with my context clues, and I could be wrong, because honestly, this is just my take on this. This is just my take. But honestly, she was just somebody who was obviously devoting her life to the Lord. She was someone who was worshiping the Lord the best she could, as much as she could, without doing things that the world was telling her to do. Because, quote unquote, when you're young, you're supposed to do this and that and the third. When you're young, honestly, when they were young, they were just getting sold off to men left and right. They were being told to marry this man, being told to marry that man. For example, Jacob and Leah. I'm sorry, that story actually makes me laugh. But for example, Jacob and Leah. I don't know how old Leah was, but Jacob didn't want Leah, so he ended up with Rachel. But nonetheless, they were constantly being married to somebody. You were constantly being told that you're going to marry this person, you're going to marry that person. That's just what's going to happen. You were just going to get married. They were young nonetheless, though. Nonetheless, they were all young. Nonetheless, they all had, quote unquote, they had things that they all had things that they wanted to do. Now let's think about them. They're all young women. They are all young people who are being told that they have to live a certain way. Automatically, they're just being told that they have to live a certain way. But because they are young, and because this is a norm, by the way, this is a society norm for them, so there's just nothing to question about that. They were all young. But as the generations went on, as we all continue to grow, it is now a quote-unquote exception. Oh, she's young, let her do what she wants. Oh, he's young, let him do what he wants. Oh, he's young, let him do this, that, and the third. No. Because you're young, now that this is the best time for you to get what you need to get. This is the best time for you to learn how to be a teacher, if that's what you want to be, and if that's what you want your calling to be, a preacher, if that's what you want to call your calling to be, a worship team leader, a worship leader. I mean, if you want to do anything in the church, the best time to learn is now, especially if you're young. The best time to learn is when you're young. Yes, you can learn when you're older, but things get harder the older you get. Sorry, Janice, you're about to get shade, sweetie. But I called her sweetie. She calls me sweetie. Oopsie, sorry, girl. But anyways, Janice is almost 30, okay? If Janice were to sit in this chair and lay back right now, all the way back like this, I promise you, when she gets up, she can't lay all the way back, but if she were to do it that way, if she were to lay all the way back, she's gonna get up and she's gonna be groaning as she gets up. But that's just because the older you get, the harder things get for you to do. Not saying that Janice is old, but the older you get, the harder things get for you to do. A lot of times, I'm 18. I stand up and there's a creak in my knees. Excuse me, I am not that old. Why are my knees creaking? I'm not tall. I'm 5'4". I'm not tall. Why are my knees creaking? My bones will crack when I do certain things. Sometimes I can't even get out of bed all the way. I'm 18 again. I'm not old, but the older you get, the harder things get for you to do. And that is just something that you have to take into consideration. The older I get, the harder it is going to be for me to take, one, my faith seriously. Because a lot of times, or maybe not your faith seriously, but a lot of times I feel like if people don't even like semi-devote themselves at a young age, because some people, I'm talking so fast, some people, they will at least put their best foot forward and try. They'll put their best foot forward and try to do things the best way that they can. They'll try to do things, and the more that they try, the bigger that they get. A lot of times people try harder, and then the more tries that come with it, they build, they get progress, right? But there are some people who just don't try at all, and then they just give up on it altogether. And I've seen that. They stop trying and they just give up. And it's just like, you were using that excuse that you were young, or you were using an excuse that just didn't make sense. Yeah, you were using that excuse that you were young, that you weren't being what you could be at your fullest capacity, if that makes sense. You weren't doing what you could do at your best stage in your life, if that makes sense. But yeah, let's stop using that quote unquote I'm young excuse, because I'm young. And honestly, I try to think, if my dad wasn't my dad, no offense, mommy, if my dad wasn't my dad, would I be where I am right now? Probably not, guys. I would probably have a septum right now. If my dad wasn't my dad, the entire earlobe pierced, my nose pierced, my septum pierced, my belly button pierced. I think that's it. I don't really want that many piercings. Maybe my tongue. No, I don't. I can't do it. My tongue is actually really cute by itself, so that's just not for me. But you know, I would look really good with a nose ring, guys. Just putting that out there, in case anybody was wondering. But yeah, if my dad wasn't around, it would really be like, hey, like, where would I be without my father right now? That's really what I think about sometimes. Dang. Guys, I'd be tatted right now. Thanks, Dad. Again, you see, I'm young, but I also I learned from my discipliner, like I was saying earlier. You know, back to those parents who are enabling their children. I know this is not part of my topic at all. Please, you know, discipline your kids. Anyways, but because at a young age it was installed in me that my ears aren't even pierced yet. They're not pierced yet, but because it was installed in me at a young age that that tattoos are bad, piercings are bad, this and the third are bad, I was just instantly just like, okay. And the older I got, the more I just saw, like, okay, what do I really need my nose, septum, 14 ear piercings and a tattoo for? I don't need any of that. Especially, what do I need my belly button pierced if no one is going to see my belly button? And that's a question I really had to start asking myself. Even though it would look really good with one, no one's going to see it except for me, so what do I need it pierced for? As for my nose, and everybody will see my face, but I don't need it pierced or whatever. What do I need a low back tattoo for if no one's going to see my lower back? That's just stuff that I had to start asking myself at a certain point in my life. If no one is going to see this, why do I need it? Because everybody else is doing it. And that is something I had to teach myself. I have to really separate myself from the world. Please, my young people who I love ever so dearly, please don't be like the world. Comments. Samia. Mind your business. Laughing emojis. My belly would have been guys. I mean, I just feel like a few piercings are not that bad. You know, just like maybe just one. A little. My dad was preaching one day. He called it a bull nose ring, and I was just like, oh, guess I won't be getting that anytime soon. But then I just started thinking about it. I was just like, okay, I don't really need that. I think it would just affect my sense of smell. But I think I would look adorable with it. No, I wouldn't. I actually would look meaner than I look already. All right, let me get off here because I'm yapping now. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to She Said What She Said. Oh my gosh, guys, I didn't do my regular intro. Hello, everybody. Welcome to She Said What She Said. I am She, and this is episode 5. All right, guys. Had to get that out of me. Thank you, everybody, for watching She Said What She Said. This, again, is episode 5. I hope to see you guys next week on episode 6. Thank you guys so much. Bye!